I think you need to take the headphones on. Give you a second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Perfect. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. It's really it's the first time that I talk to an audience with headphones on, but I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited of being here at this event, the first time. And my name is Andreas Hauser. I work for SAP. You know, I started working at SAP 25 years ago, long time. I started as a developer, worked in product management, and I found my passion for design 16 years ago. And I was always leading global user experience design teams, and now I lead a design agency within SAP, and we offer design consulting globally for customers. Now, I want to talk a little bit about leadership, about humanizing leadership, and the role design thinking plays in that. Who does not know SAP? Give me hands. Okay, a few. Now, SAP, we build business software, human resources, finance, customer relationship management, and so on. But one thing that you can remember, 75% of the beer production is managed by SAP software. That means most big companies use our software to run their business. Now, currently in our industry, you hear a lot of buzzwords. You hear about machine learning, about IoT, about predictive network security, all amazing technologies. And you can do amazing things with it. But what happens if people are not able to use it? You can have the coolest technology. It's all about people. It's about humans. That's what I'm going to talk about. Now, Doug Engelbart, he invented the mouse, by the way. And there's a nice quote from him. Technology should not aim to replace humans, rather amplify human capabilities. It's all about humans and people. Now, another buzzword currently, digital transformation. And I looked at Wikipedia, what they write about digital transformation. It is application of digital technology in all aspects of human society. And again, there is one word that I think is extremely important. It's about humans. And now if you look at this picture, most companies or most people talk about Uber as a great example for digital transformation. I'm also going to do that, but probably in a little bit different way. Now, if you look at Uber, they have a nice app. It's really nice. But what personally for me makes a difference, that at the end of the ride, you keep your mobile phone in the pocket, you don't do anything. You don't need to take care about how much tip to give. You immediately get a receipt, and there is no user interface. But that's the difference between having a nice UI and an amazing experience. And only if you know what the needs are of the people, you're able to design such a system and such a solution. Now, I'll make another example. I was using my taxi last year in Hamburg. And at the end of the ride, the taxi driver took his mobile phone, sent me something on my mobile phone. I had to select how much tip I give, send it back, and it took me 2 minutes. The second experience was, I was in a hurry, was using my taxi to get a ride. I went in the taxi and I forgot to enter the destination. And he already started driving. And then he said, where do you want to go to? I said, let's type it in. I said, oh, that's not possible in the app. It's too late, we already started driving. Now, these are the small things that really make the difference. And if I, as a person, as a human, can decide whether I take Uber or my taxi, for me, the decision is very clear. And it's all about humans. That's my main message for today. Now, if you look in the past, organizations like SAP and many big companies, they look at business process, how the business process is run through the organization. And it's very much process focused to make the processes more efficient. And for sure, there are people who have to work in this process with certain systems. Now, this is changing. In the future, people are in the center, and the processes need to adapt to the needs of the people, which has new requirements to IT and technology. And I would like to start with one thing, or continue again using the word human. It's about humanizing technology. Making something, developing something that people are excited about. But this is not sufficient. If you have an amazing product which is really good and really usable, you need to also humanize your business. That means the way how you sell, the way how you implement solutions. You need to do this in a human-centered way and involve the people in that. It's not just about just selling a product. And the last element is you have to have customer empathy. You need to understand what the needs are of your customers and empathize with them. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. What is empathy and humanization is all about? It's all about trust. It's about building trust with the customer. And I tell you what's happening. If you build trust, if you deliver on promises, you're for sure going to make money, and you have to provide business value. And when I talk about design thinking and applying design thinking as a methodology, to be very honest, it is not just about creating post-its, generating ideas, and doing something in a cool environment. It is all about creating business value. And if you don't know what the value is for the company or for the people, don't do the project. I experienced so many projects where people said, we use design thinking, they were creative, but nothing got implemented and in the hands of people. It was then just a great idea, nothing more. Now, the question is, who is the customer? Who of you works in an corporation, in an organization? Okay. If you ask within your organization, who is the customer, you probably get different answers. When people say they talk with customers, sometimes they talk with management at the customer. They sometimes talk with the IT organization of the customer. They talk with the business at the customer. But who talks with the end users and the consumer who use their products and the solutions? These are the people that you need to involve into the process. And with them you need to build up also empathy, understand their needs. Now, Bill McDermott, our CEO, last year at our big Sapphire conference with 25,000 people said, everything has to start with the ultimate empathy for the end user. And we couldn't have, or I never could have said it much better, but it's great to get something, such a statement also from our leadership team within SAP. Now, design thinking is in the press. Everybody talks about it. Analysts talk about it, companies talk about it. It's a huge topic. And to be honest, for me, it's just two words. It is not rocket science, it's not new. But everybody catches the term and uses it. And it's amazing what you can do if you do it in the right way. And you see, there is one cover, which is the one that you see on the left side. On the left side, yes. It's an article in Business Week about IDEO and design thinking. And I call it the 35 million cover. Because Hasso Plattner, founder of SAP, in 2004, before he went on stage at Sapphire, our big customer event, he was reading this article behind stage. And when he went on stage, he said, and nobody knew about that, he went on stage and said to all customers, SAP now does design thinking all over. And I found, wow, it was amazing, great that he says that. And we asked him afterwards why he did it. And I tell you, he said, when they started the company in '72, they were sitting at the customer besides the end user, programming, asking, getting feedback, iterating. The term design thinking didn't exist at that time, but it remembered him how SAP started. And he said, we grew to a large organization, meanwhile 90,000 employees, And he said, we unlearned, and this was 2004, how to engage with our customers and with our users. And that's the reason why he brought design thinking into SAP. And he donated 35 million of his private money to Stanford University to build up the D-School. And he also built up the Hauser Institute in Potsdam. He's really dedicated to the topic. Now, we went through a long journey at SAP. Lots of amazing things we learned, mistakes that we did, many things that went well. But you see this reflected finally also in our share price. I'm talking about this now. Now, why do you do this? And there's an interesting index that Design Management Institute creates. They compare companies who invest significantly in design, and they compare their market capitalization development over 10 years with the S&P index. And what they show, that companies who invest into design have a higher market capitalization development over 10 years. And if you look at SAP, the last 5 years, we significantly also increased our share. I don't want to say this is just true to design thinking, definitely not. But we are very excited that last year SAP was also made part also of this index. Now, I talked now a lot about digital transformation, humans, what's happening in the industry. And to be honest, many organizations are currently afraid. Because in the past, big companies were eating small companies. And now the fast companies eat the slow ones. And typically big companies are slower. And they're currently all looking at ways how they become more agile, more innovative as an organization. And design thinking plays an important role. But to be honest, this requires a new kind of leadership. Design leadership. You need to be advocate of the user and the consumer on the customer side. Also within your organization, if you're a design leader, you do not just manage your team. That's the easy part. You have to manage your peers and you have to manage up also. And as a design leader, you can only influence because you don't have the technology team, you only have typically design people in the organization. And that means you need to lead by influencing others. Now, I would like to start with some recommendations. And I'm now 16 years on this journey. And since 12 years, Toby Haug on this picture, manager in my team now works very close with me. We hired him, and I still remember when we hired him, he said he was working in a zoo. And I said, you are the right company now, because sometimes I feel also like in the zoo with our company. But important is, as a design leader, you need to have a passion. Because only if you have a passion, you can convince others to follow. And one example is Toby. He's really a passionate design leader. He's amazing about all in empowering employees in the organization, in the team, collaborating, networking with others. And what he did, he was writing an article about new work within our SAP portal, where all employees somehow could read about this. And he offered, whoever is interested in talking about this and exchanging, we invite them to our app house in Heidelberg, which is a creative location, just to share. And you know what happened? More than 200 people showed up in the last 3 times. There's a big interest of people, and this is just because he had a passion about that, started writing something about it, talking with others, and working with other people in the organization together. Now, the second thing is egoless leadership. And typically, I would see managers or executives sit in a very nice cubicle with a nice table, and you see the difference. In our case, it's not the case. I sit in the middle where the team is, because they approach me. I just work with them because we are one team. It's not about me as a manager. I'm not successful without the team. That means the focus is really on the employees, on the team, that we all work together as one team. And I'm not interested in silos at all. I'm interested in the people. And as a design leader, you need to live this also. The second thing is, it is not about command and control. For sure, I give a vision. I give some goals that we define together with the team for the year. But it's finally about coaching the employees and helping them to grow. And for us, it's really a lot about working together with the employee, understanding what his or her needs are, where he or she wants to develop, and finding the right projects for them to work on. And what we also did is, in our team, every employee can decide which project to work on. And we created a process where if we now get a new customer project, we send a meeting request to everybody who wants to potentially do this. Within 1 day, they have to say, I'm interested or not. And then if there are more people, then we have a meeting and decide who's doing it. But it's about the employee deciding where to work on, because if you find the motivated people, they will rock the project. If I just tell you, do this project until tomorrow, and you hate it, for sure you will do this, but you won't do this with the passion that is needed. The next thing is empower employees. And as I mentioned, I run a design agency within SAP. We do design consulting for our customers, and we do this in a creative environment. And this is a picture of our app house in Heidelberg, which is in an old tobacco building. It doesn't really look like SAP. And I gave the task to the team to design the space. I said, here's your budget. You can now buy a sofa for 500 euro or 5,000, I don't care. But don't go over budget. Now what happened? They went to IKEA, they went to Bauhaus, they went to second-hand shops. They built stuff on their own. And it had a huge impact on employee engagement. The second thing is there was one morning where I came in and there were 10 of these cable rolls. They got them at eBay and said, guys, what are you doing with this crap? Andreas, wait a second. Give us a week, you will see. And what they did, they built tables. They're standing tables, small tables, a bookshelf out of it. Scenes, another example. This would have never, ever been created, this tool, with me saying, do it. What happened? Because we did about 600 customer projects in the last years, we found out that, if you use design thinking, you create storyboards, you create user stories, and then you have somebody who can draw a story. And there are not so many people who are good at drawing. Now the team came up with the idea, hey, why don't we create a game, we call it scenes, where you three-dimensionally, you have laptops, you have backgrounds, you have people, you can write on it, and you can create your own scenes without having drawing skills. And you do this together with the customer. And you can download it, go to the webpage, it's for free. You can build it on your own. I tell you, it takes about 8 to 10 hours if you build it on your own, but we also have in our shop that you can buy it. And this only happened because I didn't say do it, because the team came up with the idea and I let it happen. For sure, I have to say also very openly, there are also cases where I say the team did something where I said, wow, this was not a little bit too much. Why did you invest that much time into the project without having now an outcome? You need to find the right balance. That's an important thing. Breaking silos in all directions. Breaking silos at the customer. What we do when we engage in a customer project, we always say it's mandatory that their end users or the consumers that we design for are part of the project and part of the workshop. Because what happens if you have them in the workshop, you have IT and business and them, and then they start talking to each other. They never do this. If you go to the IT organization, most times they develop a solution, give it to the business, and never ever involve the end users. And with this, what we do, we break the silos within the customer and let them work together as one team. But it's also on your side. Now in our case, on the SAP side. We bring in people from the technology team, from consulting, people with business knowledge, and we all work together as one team. And one of your main goals as a design leader is you have to break the silos, because you will not be successful, because you don't have all the skills in your team. You need to have the help from others to make it happen. Live customer empathy. Don't just talk. You have to show it. And here you see some pictures from people in my team really getting into the shoes of the customer or the consumer. And I would like to show you one example that we did at AMG. And can you please just start a video? You know, AMG, these nice cars of sports car brand of Daimler, they ask us to optimize their 3-year car development process. Because Daimler creates now more and more models, and for every model they have to provide an AMG version, and they even would like to catch up with Porsche and produce 200,000 cars a year. Now what we did, we took all end users participating at the 3-year car development process into one room, and in a gamification-like way, we let them model the process, how they work together. And you know what was interesting? 50% of the challenges we found were not in software. These were organizational challenges. As a result, SAP developed a customer-specific solution that they have a joint collaborative planning tool, and that they can really work together as a team from the beginning to end and really optimize their process. And Mr. Mers, the CEO of AMG, he was really excited to learn about this way of working with design thinking, working in our creative environment, the app house, engaging with the end users in an iterative way, and visualizing in mock-ups the solution before you implement. And he also talked with Mr. Zetsche, the CEO of Daimler, and said, hey, we need to get this kind of creativity into Daimler as an organization. And yeah, really nice car. I would love to have one. Next story. Now, and we do lots of these kind of projects where we take one scenario of the customer, where we go to the end users first for 2-3 days, we go with the truck driver, then we synthesize our learnings, and then we give a workshop with the customer. We look how the as-is process looks like, then we brainstorm at the potential to-be process and create mock-ups or prototypes to visualize how the potential solution could look like. And I'll tell you why is this so important, because a picture says more than 1,000 words. You don't need to write hundreds of pages of specifications that anyhow nobody reads. And we learned that the screens have such a big power, and we really use this, and this can even be on paper in the beginning. Now, I would like to show you a video of the former CIO of Daimler, Mr. Schütt. He was leading car, buses, and vans, IT, and he's an absolute believer in design thinking, and we work together with them on a project to help them to become more creative as an organization. And I would like to just run the video and have a look at what he has to say.
Design thinking is important for Daimler.
Only you can hear it.
We want to bring in innovations and creativity
can you hear it?
into the company.
Good.
So SAP helped us on that journey, first of all, in the definition of the strategy, and also define a concrete plan how to implement design thinking. We also set up our creative space, and we have done it in a different way. So we put 2 containers on our campus in Möhringen. We had about 1,400 people who went through design thinking awareness sessions, so they get in touch with the methodology. The key success factors to really bring in design thinking in a huge organization is, first of all, a top management commitment and support and understanding for that. To find the right people who are really motivated and engaged and want to learn that. To find projects which can be done successfully, where many people within the organization see that this really brings success.
Yeah, this was the story about Daimler. And the interesting thing, and you can check out this video on YouTube, it's a 7-minute video longer. And the interesting thing what he is saying, that by now training 1,400 people or doing awareness sessions in this space, by the way, this space was just on the opposite, on the side of the of the canteen, and every employee was walking by, and he said they sometimes feel like in a zoo because people were watching and looking what is happening inside here. But he said what now happened, that now the business approaches proactively the IT organization for support. And they don't talk technology. They want to get support to become more creative as an organization. And this is a great example how a CIO is moving into a role of a Chief Innovation Officer and help getting innovation into the company. Now, what you just heard about is you have to create a culture of innovation. And how do you do this? The formula for doing that, from my point of view, is you need to have the right people with the right skills. For sure, business, technology, most companies have, but you also need to have the skills to understand the needs of people. User research, interaction design, visual design, design thinking skills are needed, and new kind of skill is needed to really understand better and visualize what the needs are of the people. The second thing is the process. And this is design thinking combined with agile methodology. And many companies do agile. But if you get in an agile process garbage in, you get very efficiently garbage out. That means design thinking helps you doing the right thing. And it's really very complementary. It's very iterative like agile, but you start much, much earlier in the process. And the last element is the place or the space where you work. And this has a huge impact on creativity of people. We started the journey of spaces in 2010. We also use this to change our culture within SAP. We started in Silicon Valley with having renting a house off SAP campus, and we had a team with designers, developers, product managers who got the task to develop consumer apps, because we develop business apps. And we had to learn how do we develop consumer applications, not in 18 months development cycles, in a couple of weeks development cycles, and in a different way using design thinking. And I just remember the first time when I went there and I entered into my navigation system, I went there, it says, you arrived, I said, where am I? It was just a normal house and a small A4 sign called App House. And we have now more than 10 of them globally for our development teams. And what I started 4 years ago, the next evolutionary step, we now open such an App House location, customer-facing App House locations in various locations globally, and where we co-innovate with customers in that space. And can you please run the video? Here is a picture or a video of the space in Heidelberg. It's an old tobacco building. It doesn't look like SAP. And all walls are writable. And we invite customers to co-innovate with us in that space. You see our customer innovation space here. Again, the cable drums. And the team is also sitting here. And here are some of the rooms that the team created. And they created all on their own. And I personally, to be very honest, 4 years ago when we started this journey, I did not think what huge impact the space has on people. It is huge. All our customers, you know, they go in our customer centers, they are very shiny, best technology, you get a 5-star menu, good wine, and then you come to us and walk by a kindergarten and a Winsung studio, and then you open the door, and then you're in the space. This doesn't look like SAP. The main goal here is we want to work with the customer on an eye level. We work together with you as partners, and not we are the company who sell you something. And we have now 5 of these locations. We have now one in Seoul, in Heidelberg, in Berlin, in Palo Alto, and just opened one now in New York. And we're going to continue this journey. And interesting, and if you would have asked me 4 years ago, I would have never thought that now our customers ask us for support. Can you help us doing such a space in our organization? And I also had cases where a customer called me and said, we have a very cool space, but nobody goes there. And the reason is they didn't look at the formula, people, process, and space. They just had a cool space, but they didn't have the people with the right skills and applying the right methodology. And by the way, they didn't have a clear goal of the space, what they wanted to achieve. And now all organizations are on different maturity levels. And we experience this in our engagements. And because of that, we created a questionnaire. It's for free. You can just try it out. Go to fosterinnovationculture.com. It's about 30 questions, and in the category of people, process, and space, you answer some questions, and the tool is going to help you on which level you are as an organization. And we found, we did this now with more than 300 customers, that there are 12 common barriers in organizations. One is no management buy-in, because if you want to change a culture, you need to have people, budget, and a top-down commitment, and not just for a couple of weeks, for a long term. You need to have people with the right skills. And this is going to help you show where you are as an organization, and then seeing what steps are to get to the next level. Now, another element as a leader, you have to do good things, no question about it, but also talk about it. And not only, and this is Thomas Biedermann in our team, he's the guy who created the AMG video and did also the AMG project. Really amazing person. They also go on stage, they talk about it, the employees, not just me. And it's not just us talking about, what's even more important, your customers have to talk about it. We have more than 50 customer success stories on our webpage where we created videos with them, we invite them to present to other customers. To be honest, it's not about us. Only if we have success and our customer is successful and then they talk about it, then people are going to listen. Otherwise, it's just talk. And but it's important to talk about it. And I would say in the first 2 years, when I started the last 4 years this team, we worked a lot with customers and really focused on getting customer projects. And I did not focus too much on internal communications within the company. And then people didn't know what we're doing. It's a crazy team, what are they doing? And then I had to switch and communicate more internally, that the people within our organization also understand what we do, what is the benefit of what we do. And the important thing as a leader in an organization, you always have to convince others. But you can only convince them if you know what are their challenges and what are their goals. And I tell you, within our organization, we have a sales organization. They get compensated when they sell software. This is how they get money. And it means when I talk to salespeople, I say, oh, we did a project at eBay making that much million. The project at AMG, that much. The project here and there. I'm talking with them money. Because this is the only thing they listen to. If they see that you can help them making money, they're going to involve you. If I talk with our consulting team, they are measured on utilization, services revenue. And only if a customer is paying for that, they will be interested in. And if I talk to our development team, they are not really interested in the money. They are interested what happens with their products. Are their products adopted? What do customers say about it? Therefore, you need to be very aware about your stakeholders within the organization and also adapt how you communicate to them and understand what their needs are. It's not an easy task, but that's the reason why I also love the job that I do. And I couldn't think about doing a better job. I tell you another story about, it's a very emotional story, and here it's really about delivering results. It's not just about talking and doing design thinking workshops. You need to get things implemented and in the hands of people. And this is a story about cervical cancer. 60,000 women every year in Africa die because of cervical cancer. And they don't have the possibility, luxury as we in Europe or in America, just going to the hospital, driving there, doing a test and finding out whether they have an infection or not. Now, what we did, we flew to Kenya, we observed how they work, and the initial assumption of the Heidelberg University Hospital was that the nurses in the hospitals, they drive to the women in the villages, they do the test, they all have a mobile phone, not a smartphone, but a mobile phone where they can get a text message, and then it just informed them via text message afterwards. We found out by going there that the nurse in the hospital gets 50 to 100 patients a day. There is no time to go to the village. And the village is so far away, the woman cannot just travel very easily to the hospital. That means that we had to find another way. There are now new people recruited who do this. We built an application which also works offline because they not always have internet connection, using our SAP cloud platform. And now the recruiter, the people can go to the women, do the test, send it to the university hospital in Heidelberg, and they immediately are all connected and online. And this is an example which is really going into SAP's heart and the mission to improve people's lives, and where we really can, with technology, save people's lives. Therefore, I really like this story, and we won also several design awards also for this kind of solution. Now, last thing. You also need to have fun. You spend so much time with your team, with, I don't know, at least 8 hours a day. And here's an example where we had a very funny exercise or team building event with my team. And another one where, again, Toby describing with a gesture what his job is. And I was asked, can you give me one gesture what your job is all about? And I said, it's about that. Because if you look at designers, they would like to be as creative as possible. The challenge sometimes is they don't get it implemented and get it into results that you can implement it and get it into the hands of people. That means, as a design leader, you need to give sufficient flexibility and freedom that people can be creative, but still guide them into a direction. And the last one, I like this one. This is Jackson, one of our amazing designers, and this was just a picture that we created after we had a team meeting and we did a workshop where we did a role play, I really like that. You see, we also have lots of fun as a team. Now, for everybody who was writing down now all these 10 things, I also have the possibility to make a picture of it to get all of the 10 recommendations. And to be honest, there are more tips and tricks that you can pick up. I just collected what I experienced, and I'm really interested in having dialogues with people also to learn more. To be very honest, it's all about trying out things. Try it out. If it's not working, fail early and do something else. We have like a startup mentality within a big company of 90,000 people, and I think this is one of the reasons why we are successful. And I really encourage everybody in the team to come up with new ideas. Let's talk about it, let's try it out. And then you will really be able to deliver amazing results. More information you can find on design.sap.com. Send me an email, get in contact via LinkedIn or Twitter. I'm really interested in getting into dialogue. Thank you so much for your time, for staying here, trying it out with the headphones. I'm really excited about it, and I need to make a picture because it's the first time that I do such a presentation with people on headphones, and you need to make some noise here. Come on. Perfect. Thank you so much. It's really exciting. It's funny to see all of you. I really like it. Okay, now I think we have 1 or 2 minutes for questions. Anybody have a question? Okay. Otherwise, I will still be here for any questions. Come by. Thank you very much for being here and have a great day.